Hey everyone, Ahsan Raza here from Century 21 Innovative Realty and Ahsan Raza Real Estate. As you guys know, I started my podcast 2.5 years ago and we are almost at 70 episodes now. If you get a chance and if you like this information and content, please subscribe to the channel. Please share and like all the videos you've seen so far. And if you are a home buyer and a home seller looking to get more information and you've liked what you've seen in these podcasts and you want to set up a meeting to discuss your future plans, give me a shout, reach out to me at 647-995-7292 or DM me on Instagram or Facebook and let's get your next move started. Thank you very much. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today I've got my friend, my younger brother, and close confidant, Mohsin Jaffery, on the podcast today, a fellow realtor and a success story as well. And today I get to interview him, which I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. So Mohsin, the floor is yours. Let us know about who you are, when you got started, and what drew you to real estate.
Ahsan, thank you so much for having me, man. It's really a pleasure. Obviously, with collaborating with someone like you who's been in the industry for so long, it's truly humbling. It's a pleasure to be here, man. You're the VIP. So it's always cool being on your podcast. Yeah, man, Mohsin Jaffery, almost 5 years into the game. You know what? It's been an amazing experience. God is great, just with the amount of opportunities I think I've been blessed with so far, and one of those being like collaborative clients that we had to take on together. I think that's truly been a blessing, learning a lot from that experience, learning a lot from you as well. Yeah. And, just with the type of people I've met in these last couple of years has truly been life-changing. As they say, when you meet a person, it's either a lesson or a blessing. Yeah. And I think something that's super important that I prioritize right now is maintaining that human experience and connection that you have with clients. Because, and you can elaborate on this as well. Like I know with our industry, we do this day in and day out. And so sometimes our work can get repetitive. Yeah. For us, it's selling real estate, it's helping people buy or invest. And so it's natural for us to just consider it like another job. Yeah. But what I think that helps me keep going is understanding that we are in the industry of helping people achieve probably one of the biggest purchases in their life and helping them achieve one of the biggest milestones in their life as well. Right. And so always maintaining that genuine relationship with them, I think that builds up trust. And, not only does that mean future business, but that also means being part of someone's life-changing journey. So yeah. I think in a nutshell, that's kind of like my summary of these last couple of years. Yeah, and I think you touched up on just us collaborating a lot together. And when I had my experience where I wasn't driving for 2 years, I leaned into you. Yeah, and you came to the rescue and said, Ahsan, don't worry, I got you. I got your showings. I'll drive you, whatever it was. 100%. And you were there for me. So I really appreciate that. And I got you. And that's the beauty about our businesses. A lot of people think that realtor to realtor, it's all competition and, we're fighting for business. But it took me a while to understand and realize that that's actually the complete opposite. There's enough for everyone to eat. I can't serve every client. You can't serve every client. True. Actually, on top of that, what's amazing is you're in the West End. I'm in the East End. Sometimes I don't want to drive for the West End. Yeah. So, hey, Mohsin, how about you do a showing for me? We'll collaborate. We'll share the client. And it works out perfectly all the time. For me, time is so important. Yeah. And I realize that money right now is important, of course. 100%. But when you can buy back time and when you can work with somebody you trust, that hands down, eyes closed, I don't have to worry a single second. That's the relationship I have with you. 100%. Even with Zane Merchant, guys like Brown Jackson, guys that we know. And so the beauty of this business is that we can lean into each other. Yeah. And as you told me much earlier on, something that is still embedded in me, it's always collaboration over competition. Yeah. And I think that's kind of something that helped us keep grounded. And 100%. Most importantly, like helping clients. I know a lot of the clients that we've helped out have always commended us for this team effort because they know more hands are on deck. And so they're definitely taken care of. Exactly. 100%. No, thanks for the intro. Let's talk a little bit about the market right now. Yeah, so interesting. It's the end of the year. It is December, and we kind of want to give you guys a market recap. How was 2025
compared to 2024? What are we going to see in 2026?
Yeah.
So 2025 was probably one of the worst years in real estate when it came to sales. Just looking at overall sales numbers right now, year to date, we're at 58,000 sales, which is extremely low. If you look back in 2021, 2022, we were hitting 100,000, 120,000 sales.
Yeah.
And so it's a 50% decline in sales, you can say. But I'm getting the feeling that in 2026, things will change a little bit. Not to say that things are going to skyrocket, but one thing that I've noticed is that interest rates have come down.
Yeah.
And to anybody watching out there, if you're a buyer and you're hoping for rates to come down even more, I think this is it. I think we've hit that target where we're in that neutral rate of interest rates from the Bank of Canada. And when people start to realize that that uncertainty is going to go away.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why the market was free falling was because there was uncertainty.
Yeah.
Or like, when are rates going to fall? Are rates going to keep going up? Now we have a baseline saying that rates are going to be the way they are now. At this point now, actually, if rates go up or down, it could go up by a quarter point, it could go down by a quarter point. So we're not going to be in that trend where like rates will keep going down, 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 unless something catastrophic happens. So that's one reason why I think sales will be a little bit higher next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I said that last year as well, but
we're actually seeing the effects of it in the market, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we'll kind of talk about our personal success stories with clients and kind of what their sentiments are. But, as you mentioned, like rates have come down 4 times now with the rate of the Bank of Canada being at 2.25.
Exactly.
And I think that being consistent and people kind of having that trust fall on it, I guess will kind of help them come out of their shells to explore what options are in the market.
Okay, I'm just going to rhyme off some numbers before we move on to the next point here. So just looking at the month of November, just to kind of give some perspective and context of what we're seeing in sales. So November, we had about just 5,000 sales, which is pretty low. Compared to last year, November, this was down by almost 15%.
15%, yeah.
Average price is coming down. The average price in November was 1.039. Last year, at this time, it was 1.110. It's a drop of almost 4.5%. Every single house segment has gone down in value. So the detached house market is down by 8%. The townhouses are down by 7%. The semis are down by 11%. The condos are coming down now. They're free falling. They're down by 5%. So one thing about the condo market next year is I think there's going to be a lot of inventory. That's a market segment that might keep coming down, but lots of opportunities, which is a good segue to you because you do a lot of pre-construction.
Yeah.
You do resale as well. But from the pre-con side, how was this year and what are you going to see next year in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of, moving away from the stats a bit and then kind of sharing what I've experienced with clients this past year, I think we can all agree pre-construction has been a disaster, right? Especially with people who purchased back in 2021, 2022. We all know there's a lot of bank foreclosures. There's a lot of defaults happening, a ton of assignment sales, right? But what I found with my clients and the kind of product that I've been helping them with is something that they can find value, which is similar to resale value, right? So I know in this last year, I've been focusing a lot on pre-construction projects by Mattamy Homes, specifically in the West End, in Milton, Oakville, and those areas. And I think someone like Mattamy Homes will build and develop regardless of any market condition. They just have that kind of backing. They're the OGs in the game. And so they're getting that job done. But I think truly where the value lies is seeing if pre-construction is matching to resale value. So I know there's a few projects in Milton that I helped a few clients with pre-construction. 2 bedrooms at approximately 557,000. Now, when you look at the comps with resale around that community, they're also in that 550s range as well. So I think that's where they kind of find a value as well. And secondly, what I want to touch on is the amount of incentives that are being introduced by the provincial and federal governments. I think that is phenomenal because they're trying to get more first-time home buyers out of their shell, out of hibernation, and that's what I'm seeing as well, right? I think in this last year, just to give like an estimate, 80% of my clients that I helped were first-time home buyers.
Right.
And I think some of the value that's being provided is, and I touched upon this in a previous video as well, where they have the 5% GST rebate for first-time home buyers when they buy a pre-construction project. And now Ontario just recently introduced a 8%, or they proposed an 8% tax rebate as well. So all these incentives, I think, are really helping a lot of people find value in the market today.
And I think that's going to be a reason why next year we could see a sales increase potentially. But really, it's really a month to month right now. We can't really say what's going to happen, a year from now or 2 years from now. The data will be coming in every single month, and that's how we're going to be deciding.
Yeah.
Now, sticking with condos, I know you and I do a lot of rentals with condos. So can you share a little bit about where the rental market is going specifically for condos, but then also touch on the freehold rental side as well?
Yeah.
Because I know things have changed. If you can touch upon that.
Yeah. The rental market, Ahsan, has been quite interesting this last year. And I think we've experienced this collectively with the collaborative efforts we have with landlords and tenants. If we look at the stats for 2024, the vacancy rate for rental properties was approximately 2.2. And just as of this year, it increased to 3.1. Yeah. And obviously, if it goes beyond that, that mark, that means that it's kind of less desirable for landlords because now there's more options for tenants. Prices have definitely reduced a bit because landlords are now competing for a big pool of tenants. And I think we're seeing that more so for pre-construction projects that have just closed right now, because obviously there's so many people that had this idea, I'm going to buy this pre-construction, and now when it comes time for closing, they want to rent it out, but there's like 20, 30 other landlords in that same building that have that same perspective. Yeah. So now there's kind of this hustle and bustle going on. Yeah. But I think on the other spectrum, it might be more desirable for tenants as well, because now they have so many more options in comparison to other years where they're kind of fighting for units or even freehold homes in terms of the rental market. So now prices have also decreased for the rental market. More options are available as well. Yeah. And so there's more wiggle room for tenants in this market.
Yeah, and you and I have been working a lot with landlords as well, and it's been tough. Where the days where you would put a rental on the market and you'd have like 3-4 applications, those days are long gone.
Long gone.
And people ask me like, why is that? What is the reason for the rental market softening? There's a bunch of reasons, right? And you can't pinpoint one reason specifically, but what I'm looking at right now is immigration has stalled a lot
drastically.
A big pool of the renters in Ontario, in GTA specifically, were immigrants, people on their work permits, professional working individuals whose work permits were not renewed. I had a few clients this year, landlords, who had to put their home back up on the market because their existing tenants' work permits were not renewed, and they had to go back, right? Yeah. That was one reason. The other reason is the economy. Economy, as we know, is down. And it could go down further. But I think people are just generally uncertain about where things are going to go. People have lost jobs. Rental rates are still very expensive for people. Talking to people, boots on the ground, what I'm hearing is that many people, instead of renting, are moving back into with their parents.
Really?
Or moving into basements.
Wow.
Doing whatever they can to cut costs right now.
Yeah.
And the third reason is, you touched on, is the level of inventory.
Yeah.
There's so much inventory out there right now. There was like a record number of homes that closed, just a few months ago, both in the freehold and the condo segment. So there's a lot of choices out there. And when you have a lot of supply, it's going to put downward pressure on prices, which is natural, right? So now what do you advise to the landlords? Like, what do you say when they're like, well, my house isn't getting rented? What I do is now I lay the expectations right from the beginning. And I say, it is going to take 2 to 3 months to rent out your house. That's a given. And the reason why we say that is because there's a lot of inventory. And there's a lot of people out there that may want to rent your house, but they may not be the right tenants.
Yeah.
And so you really have to filter and make sure you do your due diligence on who you get. And when you outline it and say 60 to 90 days to help to find a tenant, that'll at least give the landlord some expectation. And in that scenario, you as a landlord have to make sure you budget for 2 to 3 months of carrying costs.
Yep.
On top of that, I think landlords do have to be a bit more aggressive with their pricing. And when I see 10 condos in the same building, what I tell my client is that, why don't we go a little bit under than those pricing? Let's undercut the market, because it's better for you to rent out that unit today than have it on the market for 6 months
and lose out that money that you could have gotten in the last. Yeah.
Right. So rent it out for $100 less or $200 less, but you're going to get a tenant faster. Right. So I'm not sure what you tell the landlords or clients, but that's kind of where.
Yeah. No, I think you laid down like three foundational principles for the rental market right now. And I think what's more important is that before you even decide to list it for a landlord, set out those expectations. Let them know either with stats or either with your personal experience that, hey, this is what the rental market is looking like. I'm going to work as hard as I can to make sure that it's rented out at a suitable time at a suitable price. But at the same time, here are the comps in the same building or in your community. And this is what we kind of have to deal with. And so even if we have to get a slightly lower rate of rent, it's better than leaving your property vacant and losing out on that money that you can get for your property.
Exactly. So the big question now is, Mohsin, is it still a good time to buy? What do you tell your clients when they ask
$1 million question, huh?
When they ask you that?
I think it's super subjective and relative to everyone's situation. Yet again, just going back to the first time home buyers, it's insane. Like I've seen an influx of first time home buyers. So for those first time home buyers that, did not go with the hype of the market back in 21 or 22, those are the buyers that were saving for their down payment, and now they're able to buy, or they're getting ready for 2026 to come out in the market and explore their options. So I definitely think there's a lot of value, and I think it's super important to do your research to see which markets, which neighborhoods, which cities are more suitable for your budget, and also for the environment that you want to be around as well. What do you think, like in the markets that you're focusing on, what are your clients' sentiments and what are they feeling? Are they finding value in the market today?
Now they are. Like we've done deals this year where I've gotten clients 50K below asking, 80K below asking.
Yeah.
And that's very normal these days because sellers are becoming desperate. Just like you, I'm seeing a lot of first time buyers now jump off the fence because they understand that rates have neutralized. It's not going to go down much. It may go up actually now. So now they're ready to jump in. Now, it's not to say that, things will skyrocket and people will think this is two realtors talking about how, you should buy right now and it's, don't sell right now, buy right now. No, that's not it. I mean, we always give honest advice, but I always tell my clients, and I've told you this as well, and my brothers and my sisters and my family, is that real estate, no matter what you say, is still going to be the most safest or one of the most safest investments you can make.
Correct.
It's just about what type of real estate you buy. Right. And I think nowadays, as a first time home buyer or even an investor, you have to be you should have done this before, but now more than ever, you have to be very diligent on what you buy and why you're buying it. And what does that mean? That means that maybe now you don't buy for speculation. Right. Those days were risky anyways, but now is not the time to buy for speculation. Now, if you're going to buy an investment property, buy for cash flow. Buy for something where you can get rent upstairs and downstairs, a safe investment in a safe neighborhood. If you're a first-time home buyer, buy something that may not exceed your budget or even max out your approval. So if you're approved for $700,000, buy something for $650. Go for something modest. And yes, there are homes for $650 right now.
It's really doable. So, trust me, it is really doable. Like, just maybe communities that may have been expensive a year or two ago. Now you come back to those same communities and it's coming, it's really coming in your budget, right? So I think it's very doable to find those price points that they're comfortable with.
Exactly.
Right now.
Look to be more frugal, buy something where you can rent out either top or bottom of the house. And I think that's going to go a long way. Save your money as much as you can, like I mentioned before, and think of ideas and ways where you can now maybe use those savings and get an investment property down the road. So I think people need to do more research and be more diligent, and hopefully that will help them set up for success down the road.
100%. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And yet again, don't always follow the hype. I think it's more important to follow the value more than following the hype, because generally speaking, wherever the hype is going, that's somewhere where smart investors don't really follow the trend as well. And we see that. I see that a lot with my investor clients. When we thought that the market would stay stagnant when interest rates were at an all-time low, a lot of my investor clients said, you know what, we have a feeling that this market is going to go down, and that's the time when we're going to find value. And I think that's the aftermath. That's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah. So in your experience now, because you're all over, where would you advise clients to get something when it comes to investment property? What are some cities that offer some great value, even though rents are down? what are some cities that still offer some great value in Ontario?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think especially on the pre-construction side right now, a project that we worked on together by Empire Homes, which is in Niagara, Welland, Thorold area. I think those areas are amazing. Why? Because they're matching resale prices in that neighborhood as well. And so you're getting a pre-construction for resale price, and you're also getting slightly over rental market value for your rental income just by virtue of it being a pre-construction property. That's one. And I think what I've been working on a lot in the last few months are areas in the West End, such as Milton, Oakville, Burlington. I think these areas are providing a lot of value because, as we know, Oakville is one of those prime locations that always come with a premium, right? But now when you look at this market right now, a lot of the developers in that area have reduced prices significantly. So in some areas in Oakville, you can get luxury penthouses, which are equivalent to the price of resale prices in that neighborhood as well. So these areas are obviously really good to look at as well. I think in the East End, which is more so your market that you focus on, but I know just with the stats, Oshawa, Scugog, Whitby, Pickering, these areas have been tremendous in terms of resale value as well. Prices have dropped quite significantly in those areas since last year, but sales surprisingly have surpassed many other cities in the GTA. So I think these areas are definitely something to focus on.
What are some success stories or just some stories in general that you've had with clients in the last couple of years that you can share?
So many, man. And
keep it real estate.
I think keep it real estate. With the success stories, I think just providing them good value, man, and just being a human with them. Honestly, at the end of the day, I think a lot of the feedback that I got from my clients and something that they tell me is that I'm just it's really easy to just browse homes with you, right? And the reason why I understand that is just like any other immigrant story. We've seen our parents save every dime, every dollar for that down payment to purchase their home and achieve their home ownership goals. And I've seen the hard work that my parents put into that as well. And so every time I'm helping out clients, I just remind myself of that story, right? This is someone's hard-earned money, right? And you want to be careful with it, right? But you also want to provide them the best service and make sure there's that trust factor. And I think just going back to some success stories, it's always a follow-up game, right? Real estate's always about the follow-up game. And the clients that I've consistently followed up with, they appreciated that follow-up, right? I remember for a pre-construction project, I mentioned this in a video before as well. I followed up once a month with a client for 8 months, right? Because at that time the prices were too high. He's like, when the new phase comes out for this project, let me know because I'll have like exclusive access and cheaper pricing. So after 8 months, the new phase of that project came out. I called him. I'm like, come down to the sales center. I got amazing prices for you. He came, he purchased, and he bought his parents along. They purchased, and then he referred a friend a week later, and his friend purchased as well. And just similar story a few months ago, right, where a client was they saw the value. It was a first-time home buyer, and she was really interested into the Mattamy projects. I gave her good value. I gave her good pricing, good incentives, and I think with that relationship, she brought in her cousin and then her other cousin, and it's a nice little family reunion at the end of the day. So how about yourself, man? I mean, I know you've been in this industry for a really long time, but I think more recently, what are some success stories that just
a lot of stories that my clients share with me really resonate. And so I was telling you about this yesterday, right? About the ticket.
Yeah.
So I was talking to a client just 2 days ago, young guy. And he was telling me that back in 2016, they were looking for a property in Pickering to buy, investment property. And at the time it was like 400,000, 450, which was damn cheap. And he ended up getting a ticket because at that time you had to get a ticket to line up to not buy the property, but get access to the sales center. And so there was a lineup of people and everybody got a ticket. He was number 2 on that ticket.
Is this like going into Charlie's Chocolate Factory?
Come quickly.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. And people were paying you money to buy that ticket to get access to the sales center so they can have a chance of buying a property. And so he put up his ticket on Kijiji and he was getting offers, multiple offers. And he's like, the highest bid I got was $3,000. Mind you, this guy is 23 years old at that time. He's young. And He was like, Ahsan, I was this close to selling my ticket until my dad said, are you crazy? He was like, take that ad down.
Yeah.
And his dad said, there's no way you're going to sell the ticket. We're going to buy the house. So they went to the sales center. It was a Madame sales center.
Yeah.
They bought the house for $450. And at that time, it was expensive for them. Yeah. 10 years, that $3,000 that he could have made turned into $300,000 in equity.
Crazy. Wow.
Just unbelievable. And I told him, I said, your dad has great foresight.
Yeah.
And I wish that one day you will do the same for your kids.
Yeah.
And he was so thankful to his parents.
All the parents watching this are now going to tell their kids, Beta, you should always listen to what we say.
Someone's lit up.
Is that going to happen all the time? Probably not. But, we go back to real estate and we say that it's not always about gaining the equity every single year.
Yeah.
It's about getting your mortgage paid off through the rental income coming in.
Yeah.
And when that house is fully paid off, that's principal recapture, which is a huge return.
Right.
Another story that I have, this year I just helped a client buy a house, and young guy, I think in his late mid-20s, 26-ish, around there. And he was approved for about $800,000. And so we were showing him homes for $750, $800 to the max.
Yeah.
And then he came back to me and said, Ahsan, you know what? I know I'm approved for $800,000, but I really want to keep my house price close to $650. And I was like, okay, that's fine, but how come? And mind you, 26-year-old, he's like, I just want to be frugal for the next 3 to 5 years. And I was like, that is so smart. That is so smart. The guy's getting married, starting a family. And here he is at 26 thinking about, how important his money is.
Yeah.
I didn't do that when I was that young.
Yeah.
But luckily my dad was there to help stop me from certain things, right? Buying certain things. But for a guy that young to think like that and ended up buying a house, it wasn't $650, but it was around $680, I think.
Yeah.
He saved $120,000, which he could have got, which would have been another $500 of payment to his mortgage.
Yeah.
He's cut that out. It's a modest 1,300 square foot house, enough for him and his wife. And honestly, that was for me a learning experience, because now I can tell my other first-time home buyers that, look, buy a modest home. This is a great example. In 5 years, inshallah, you will get that townhouse or house to build equity. Then you can upsize. Why get a house so big that, you're going to get that you may be able to afford, but you're going to be house poor. Yeah. So that was a good learning experience for me.
Yeah. And I think, that's a really great story and a reflection point, because it's always about, planning for the future. And I think that's so important for first-time home buyers, not to cap on your budget.
Yeah.
And if you're able to buy a home, at least that can give you some rental property, even though it might not be break even or even cash flow positive.
Yeah.
But as we know, the typical real estate sales cycle, the real estate cycle is for every market about 5 to 6 years, right? And so even if something's not cash flow positive right now, interest rates might drop lower,
right?
Anything can change. And so that rental income that you're getting might be able to give you cash flow positivity down the line, right? And that's something that I see with my own investment property that I have in the East End. We're getting to that point where we're almost beyond breaking even because of these interest rates, and just kind of having patience, right?
Yeah.
Looking for the future. And I think that's the real estate game, right?
Yeah.
So it's a long-term game that you have to really keep in mind.
Yeah.
100%. And Ahsan, I want to ask you on kind of like a personal level, right? Just for someone like me to learn from a newer agent, or even agents that are just coming into the industry right now, with you being like a veteran in the game, how do you now define success and balance, like on a professional level and on a personal level?
Man, that's a loaded question. Can I call a friend? It depends on what success means to you, right? So success used to mean getting a number of sales and making this much money.
Yeah.
But I think once I had kids, my perspective changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And so for me, time is very important. Right. I think what I've learned to do, or I'm still learning to do, is to work hard, but play hard.
Yeah.
Work hard and play hard. And what that means is that when it's time to work, you work your butt off.
Yeah.
Don't take days off. But when it's time to take a vacation or a break, you just go all in to your family and you zone out completely. Thank you, Mohsin, for joining the podcast.
No, thank you for having me
again. That was a great perspective. And I wish you all the best in 2026.
Likewise.
And we'll see you guys in the next episode.